show this week, Shumi finds out which of the newest motorcycles is all-round worthy to be your first buy. Our Overdrive boys have found two perfect machines to chill with over the weekend, and the latest headlines from the automotive world. Hi, welcome to yet another adventurous episode of Overdrive. I'm Soini Dutt. Now, the options for a new motorcycle rider moving up to his first motorcycle are plenty. But Shumi decided to take three of the latest motorcycles from 3,500 kilometers to a racetrack and back to get you a comprehensive analysis of these three motorcycles, which is of course the Kawasaki Ninja 650, the Ducati Monster 797 and the Harley Davidson Street Rod.
Today we have three representatives of the class and the variety is insane. So this is made in India but it's American. That is imported fully built from Thailand but it's Italian, and that is imported from Thailand assembled in India but it's Japanese. So the variety here is insane, and we are also going to ride them in the environments where you would use them. So that's the city where you do a lion's chunk of the work. There's the highway, and many of you will take motorcycles like this out on the highway, and for the smallest chunk of people who will evolve beyond that, the racetrack.
And the oldest motorcycle in the class in that sense is the Kawasaki. The amazing pricing and capability of the Kawasaki Ninja 650 literally created the class in India. And this is the all-new motorcycle that replaces the original from last year. It shares the mechanicals with the Z650. We've reviewed that motorcycle earlier and it was impressive. And this one is too. The addition of the fairing makes the motorcycle look bigger to people and to the rider from the saddle as well. It's an edgy design like current Kawasaki's tend to favor, but not as aggressive as the Ninja ZX-10 are. But in city, in traffic, the Ninja 650 is effortless. It cuts through easily and smoothly, and you don't need a lot of gear changes or throttle work to get it done. The Z650 might be a slightly better commuter because it feels a hair more compact, but the Ninja 650 feels very good indeed. You just keep wishing that the engine, it had a more upbeat audio track.
The 650 parallel twin isn't brand new, it's been updated for Euro 4, but it's at times when you're, for example, at a highly lean angle, you're coming back on the gas where you want smoothness from the motorcycle. That's the change that has happened to the Ninja 650. This is a much smoother motorcycle than before, and that makes it that much more usable.
The engine is terrific to use though. Out on the highway, it felt at home no matter the speed. Always tranquil, always just enough torque for an overtake, always on the ball. The Ninja 650 also has a smoother ride and easy handling that makes highways and the twisties easy even with luggage. The softer ride though, that could affect the racetrack performance, right?
I really wasn't expecting the Ninja 650 to do the things that it is doing, because the fairing means you can run on the highway and it's comfortable, you're behind the wind, and long distances at high speeds, so easy to do. But more importantly, the lighter weight has made this such a fun bike to ride at the racetrack because it's just getting work done. You can go into a corner fast, you come out of it really hard. I mean, it goes to show 19 kilos of weight loss makes such a huge difference.
And the Kawasaki proved to be fun. Its extra responsiveness, smoothness and generally easy feel makes it easy to ride fast at the racetrack. The tires, not outright sporty in nature, they kept up with a fairly rapid pace as well. And in that sense, the Kawasaki is stunning. Its composure and temperament is ideal for new riders, and its great highway manners, effortless city behavior and fun track performance means it's actually awesome value. Impressive. But is the Kawasaki Ninja 650 the sharpest track tool here? No, it isn't. That would be the Ducati, naturally.
The Monster 797 is supposedly an entry-level motorcycle, and on the highway I thought, well, the suspension's feeling like it's soft and therefore it probably won't do so well at the racetrack. I was horrifyingly wrong because that thing is just insane. It's a full-on Ducati in every sense of the word. You can brake late, turn hard, comes back on the gas really hard, tires grip, suspension works. I am really happy with this thing. Really happy.
And the compact little 797 is a terrific highway machine. The suspension isn't rock hard and that engine actually makes all that torque without the low rev judder that Ducati's engines generally have. It's distinctly sportier in feel as well as ergonomics than the Kawasaki, but all it misses is a small screen. The seat is comfortable, the tank range here is the longest by a small margin, and the Ducati feels brilliant on the highway. What it lacks is things to mount luggage to, which is a straightforward thing to solve. The big reason for the highway miles though, that's the engine.
The 803cc 90-degree V-twin is just the same as the Scrambler. There's really no difference. Makes about 75 PS and it is a really nice engine. Out on the highway, 120 steady, it's creamy smooth. 100, this particular motorcycle, I think it sort of surges a little bit, but here at the racetrack, it pulls so hard. On the main straight at Curry, you'll hit like 170, 75, something like that before you start braking into the first corner. It's fantastic, I love it.
The frame, a trellis, is sporty in nature, no doubt, but it also makes the monster responsive in the chicanes at the track. And in traffic, if you're riding in full gear, you won't notice the engine heat. There is some, to be sure. But the small size, ultra compact feel and the quality of the suspension tune makes the Ducati Monster 797 an exceptionally nice sporty commuter. Special mention here also for the extra long clutch lever, which combines with the slip assist clutch to make for an astonishingly light clutch effort. This is a very impressive entry-level Ducati, ladies and gentlemen.
Time for us to take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, more action on two wheels.
We knew that the Harley Davidson 750cc V-twin was a good one on the Street 750. The good feelings continue. So that is very happy to do 100-110 out on the highway steady. It's really smooth, pulls hard out of corners at the racetrack. But the issue that you will have is in the city, where the rear cylinder is really close to your thigh. Not so much on this side, but on the other side of the bike, you will feel that heat.
In fact, heat is the single biggest issue we had with the Harley. In the city, the stiff feeling ride reveals itself to be a lot more supple than you think, and it deals with all but the worst of it far better than you expect. This isn't a large motorcycle either, and the faster steering setup also makes it remarkably agile through traffic. The street rod, it's very sweet in traffic and it draws the eyeballs as well. And once you hit the open road, the Harley Davidson is wonderfully adept as well. The ground clearance and the ride means it will handle all kinds of highway easily. The engine will sit at 80 or 130 km an hour all day if you like, and just like the Ducati, wind blast and luggage mounting will be the two minor challenges. But a Harley Davidson that is good in the city and great on the highway, that's not unexpected, is it? Time for the racetrack.
It was Overdrive that almost inaugurated the BIC as far as motorcycles go with a 48, I think, many years ago. And now here we are back at the racetrack with another Harley Davidson. But this time, that's the sportiest Harley Davidson money can buy right now, and it's a serious thing because it's got ground clearance, the engine pulls really hard, the MRF tires are impressive in how much grip they've shown today. And so, would you consider this an inappropriate motorcycle to bring to the racetrack? Conventionally, yes, but if you did, oh my god, this thing will surprise you.
Holy wow! The Harley doesn't mind being hustled through this racetrack at all. It's got great cornering clearance and it wants you to use your body to create even more clearance if you can, and then it rewards you with even faster progress. I honestly was not prepared to have the street rod produce this kind of speed at a tight and twisty racetrack like the Curry Motor Speedway. And that to me is the surprise of this test. All of these three motorcycles have their own unique flavor, but none of them are out of sorts in any of the three environments we threw them into. That's 4,000 kilometers of testing each and not a hair out of place.
Overall, great motorcycle if you're in the Harley Davidson mode, sportiest Harley you can buy, very highly recommended. Best all-rounder is there. It's the most affordable motorcycle here, it's an extremely capable motorcycle here. I wish it had a little more soul, but that's the only thing that's missing. This is the most expensive motorcycle here, but honestly, there is no way that you can mistake what you're paying for.
Well, Well, in case you tuned into the show from the latter half of this story, you can check out the whole show on our YouTube channel. Time though for us to check out the latest in our motoring news section.
Audi India on Monday launched the 2017 Audi Q7 40 TFSI, a petrol engine option for its flagship Audi Q7 SUV at the price of Rs 67.76 lakh ex-showroom pan-India. This is the first time that the 2017 Audi Q7 SUV is available with a petrol engine in India. The engine in question is a 2-litre TFSI petrol that produces 255 PS of power and a peak torque of 370 Nm. It will come mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission powering all 4 wheels through Audi's Quattro system. The Audi Q7 40 TFSI claims a 0-100 sprint time of 6.9 seconds with a top speed of 233 km per hour. The 2017 Audi Q7 SUV has managed to shed almost 325 kilos from its predecessor owing to a more newish chassis constructed from steel and aluminium, as well as weight saving in other components including the suspension, the seats, the exhaust system and even the cooling mechanism. However, the weight loss does not mean that the Q7 skims on luxury. The Audi Q7 40 TFSI will compete with the petrol variants of the Mercedes-Benz GLS, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the Land Rover Discovery and the BMW X5. The penultimate round of the 2017 JK Tyre National Racing Championship concluded last weekend at the Kari Motor Speedway in Coimbatore, hosting 3 races in the LGB F4 Championship and 4 each in the Euro JK17 and Jigsaw Cup Championships. Leading the Euro JK17 Championship after this round with 96 points is Anindit Reddy after securing 2 wins and 1 podium finish. 14 points behind him is Vishnu Prasad. Coming to the LGB F4 Championship, Chitesh Mandori is at the top of the leaderboard with 61 points with 1 win and 4th and 5th place finish in the other races. Vishnu Prasad, who is also competing in this championship, stands at 2nd with 53 points. The third round of the 2017 Suzuki Jigsaw Cup, which was held alongside the JK Tyre National Racing Championship, hosted the final races of the Red Bull Road to Rookies Cup. Mizoram's Lal Ruhaizela sealed the title after his 2nd place finish in the first race behind Sri Lanka's Jaden Gunawardena. Mizoram lad will represent India at the shootout for the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup 2017 in Spain. In the main Jigsaw Cup Championship, Chennai's Joseph Matthew continues to lead the championship with 56 points.
Well, time for us to take our final break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, the boys are chilling with 2 smoking hot cars. Welcome back, you're watching Overdrive. Now, it was one of those weekends that Rahul and Rohit decided to take a break from work. And yes, I do mean a weekend. We do end up occasionally working over those as well. So they decided to take a break and go to the capital and chill for a while with 2 rather smoking hot cars. Here's how their weekend shaped up.
The BMW M3 and the Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG have been around for quite some time now, and we have in fact reviewed them separately on various occasions. But it's been a big task to get both these cars together at the same time. And so finally, when the opportunity knocked on the door, we just couldn't let it go.
Now, unfortunately, the only place that we could get these 2 cars together was here in Delhi. And what's even more unfortunate is the fact that we don't have access to the BIC. So we're making the best of what we've got and finding every bit of free tarmac and twisty road to see what these cars are capable of.
And talking about capabilities, these cars are also meant to evoke emotions within the petrolhead tribe. Now this tribe does have people that love their 4-door sports sedans to be sleepers that look unassuming but can drop the hammer like the proverbial hat. And then there are others who want them to look powerful and wild, unlike the domesticated sedans that they are based on. The BMW M3 aims to attract the latter, turning heads with its aggressive bumpers, carbon fiber roof and aero bits, the slick wing mirrors, and that gorgeous Yas Marina blue that it wears for its signature shade. The M3 certainly stands out from the crowd, and in comparison, the C63 is the sleeper and needs a keen eye to pinpoint the subtle differences between the regular C and this full-fat AMG. The cabins have a similar story to tell too. The C63 is typically Daimler, posh, not a stitch out of place, and elegant in its layout. But despite a generous use of carbon fiber, it appears a bit mainstream and boring compared to the M3. The Beamer has more flair and a sportier vibe than the AMG.
I really like the M3's design. It's a lean, mean looking machine. And I know that German sports saloon car is supposed to be a little sleeper, but I kind of like how shouty this looks. I mean, I look outside that mirror and I see that big flared wheel arch and it just makes me want to smile. It's great, I love it. And this car, especially in this color, attracts so much attention, and sometimes that's not good, because yesterday I was pulled over by the cops just for looking fast. The C63, despite being louder, just slipped by unnoticed.
When you look at the BMW M3 and the C63 in comparison, you know that the Beamer looks leaner, it looks more athletic. This one looks flabby in comparison, and in fact, it is the heavier out of the two. But I also like the way the C63 thinks, and I love to relate to it. Because instead of going on a weight loss program, the C63 decides to compensate for the weight with a lot of power. 510 PS of it. Of course, the 4-litre bi-turbo is capable of producing a lot more, but churning out 700 Newton meters of twist in a sedan means serious business. When the 7-speed transmission puts the power down to the road, the C63 can literally rocket from standstill to illegal speeds in the blink of an eye.
At this point, Rohit is probably raving about the C63's V8 that produces 510 horsepower and 700 Newton meters of torque. And on paper, the M3 does seem like it's at a bit of a disadvantage. It's got a straight 6 3-litre engine that in comparison produces only 431 horsepower and 550 Newton meters. But what does play to its advantage is its weight. V8s are big and powerful, but they're also heavy. And the result? Well, Mercedes says the C63 will do 0 to 100 in 4 seconds flat. BMW says this one will do it in 4.1.
Well, and even if they are quite closely matched in terms of their 0 to 100 figures, the way this car accelerates and the kind of soundtrack that it creates while doing that, it's just amazing. This is the proper sound of a V8. This is the proper sound that you expect from a German muscle car. The BMW feels like a tuner car in comparison. The crackles and the pops on this thing, it just plasters a wide smile across your face every time you step on the throttle.
The M3 also sounds very lively. It's loud, it's gruff, and it sure as hell puts a smile on my face. That said, the V8 in the Merc just sounds that much sweeter. It makes you want to put your foot on every chance you get. This one, with its straight 6, sounds more like a Japanese tuner than a German sports saloon car. Switch to Sport or Sport Plus mode, and the adjustable suspension firms up further from an already firm setup. This allows the car to dart in and out of corners absolutely flat. It really gives you the confidence to push the car around bends and not soil yourself looking at the speeds you're carrying.
The C63 has plenty of grip, a responsive steering and an eager engine, but somehow it doesn't have the crispness or the taut nature of the BMW M3. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have some sort of an emotional attachment with the Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG. Not particularly this model, but the model that it replaced. It was an absolute maniac in the way it performed in the city, on the highway, around twisties, or even on the racetrack. I've thoroughly enjoyed that car so much that even today it's very high on the priority list, on the list of cars that I really want to own. This one in comparison feels quite soft in the way it looks, in the way it performs, but then it has that glorious V8 soundtrack and is the ideal definition of what a German muscle car should be. And then after having spent almost 2-3 days with these cars in the city of Delhi, I think this is the one that is easier to live with.
But is that really what you're looking for in this category? I mean, if I'm putting that much money, I want a car that is focused, and that is just what the M3 is. Focused on the racetrack, on the streets, on a mountain road, and it's really not that hard to live with if you ask me. And I know the V8 sounds better, but this 6-cylinder sound is really growing on me, so for me, my money's on this car.
I can't disagree with you. having driven that car on the racetrack as well, I know how focused it is. I know how quick it can be when you compare to other cars in this particular category. So I think, I don't know, I think it's one of those days where you can't really pick out a clear winner, can't really decide which one you want to go home with. I believe I want both of these. And I think that is how it is, one for the track and maybe one for the club.
Well, as you can see, these boys can't get enough of their toys. But if someone were to ask me, I would too pick the M3. On that pleasant note though, it's time for us to wrap up this week's episode of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through Facebook as well as Twitter. You can follow our latest videos as well as our images on Instagram. And do subscribe to our latest videos on our YouTube channel. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye and thanks for watching.